Howdy y'all. I'm back in the woods here. Figured I'd do a video on my dirt bike here. It is a 94 XR 650L Honda freaking Enduro. See, it's got the plate and blinkers and all that stuff, so I could actually ride it on the road, which is pretty neat. You know, riding dirt bikes is pretty awesome and everything like that, but when you buy a dirt bike, you end up freaking leaving it in your garage all the time. Wait for summertime so you can throw it in the back of your truck, take it up to a trail, and then ride it. You know, what's cool about these Enduros is you could actually ride to where you want to ride around, and then ride home. So you ain't got to load it up in a truck, which loading this thing up in a truck is kind of a pain in the butt. I'm not exactly sure on the weight, whatever. I think it's dang near 300 and something pounds, 320 pounds, something like that. Not sure. It's a freaking tank. It's nothing like these 450 bikes that, you know, only weigh 240 pounds or something. Pretty easy to throw around. This old girl here, you gotta manhandle her a little bit, but it is a freaking great bike. I think it's got probably around 10,000 miles on it. The speedometer quit working a while ago, but then my uncle, he actually fixed it. So on the speedometer it says 7,500, but I know me personally, I've probably put about 2,000 or 3,000 miles on this bike. Me and this old girl, we've done our rounds. Back when I was 16 years old, I'd take this thing out where I lived down in Southern California, out in Barstow, and me and this old girl, we'd spend some time out in that desert. We'd take off whatever, about 40 miles, and then head back 40 miles, because it's only got a 2.8 gallon tank, I guess, which I'm gonna upgrade here. I'm gonna get a 5.8 gallon tank, whatever. I'm about to order it. I still got some stuff to order. My Uncle Bill just recently gave it to me. He pretty much said he's not gonna ride it anymore. He's getting old, but you know, heck, that old man, he's rode dirt bike his whole life, whatever. You know, it's throw a couple drinks in that old man, and yeah, he'll show you some tricks, that's for sure. He tries to act like he's old and feeble, but yeah, throw him on a bike, he wakes right back up. But he came to the conclusion he's done with it. He ain't gonna ride it anymore. It was just sitting there getting rusty. So I had my buddy Storm, he works up at the motorcycle shop in Coos Bay, take it up there, put a new front tire on it. He cleaned the carb, new CDI box, yeah, new battery. Pretty much just go through it, and he made her run. I still got to do an oil change. I'm about to order all that stuff tonight. Order up an oil change, and I'll probably get that big gas tank, 5.8 gallon gas tank. A couple little gooch things for it. Just doctor up a little bit. I got to register it. The tags are out of date, and I've got a neighbor. Well, he was my neighbor when I lived up on the hill, and he's got a big old enduro bike, so it'd be pretty cool, whatever, go ride around. He's been journeying around all kinds of cool places, telling me stories, so it'd be kind of cool to tag along with him. So I'm pretty stoked about this thing. It's a freaking great bike. These 650s, they got 43 and a half horsepower. And it's not a big horsepower or whatever, but it's got plenty enough to move you down the road. I've actually had this thing up to 100 miles an hour before. It was not fun, really. It was kind of a little sketchy, and but it's been there, so it'll do it. That was years ago. Yeah, and my buddy Stormy had the valves adjusted. They adjusted the valves there while I was at the motorcycle shop too. It's been years upon years since anything like that's been done. So I'm still in the process of kind of going through it all and get her back on the road officially. But yeah, me and this bike, we've went through Death Valley a couple times, went all through the El Pasos and the southern Sierra Nevada mountain ranges down there by Ridgecrest, Bishop area. Went all through those, and me and my Uncle Bill, we used to go on motorcycle rides all the freaking time. So when he told me I could have this, I was tickled freaking pink, just because this bike has took me some pretty awesome freaking places, and it'll continue to take me pretty awesome places. I imagine I'll end up having the old girl till probably I can't ride a bike anymore, just because these old XL motors, they just keep ticking, and yeah, they don't stop. And this old girl, she doesn't burn any oil, doesn't make any funny sounds or nothing. It's just been a great freaking bike. So I imagine she's got so much more life in her. Like I said, it's a 94, so it's already had a pretty long run. But yeah, she's just starting to get broke in, really. It's like I said, it's not a huge powerhouse compared to like 450s and stuff like that. You know, those 450s, those are pushing 60 horsepower and they weighed, you know, 100 pounds lighter. And nowadays it's kind of crazy, you know, because me, I'm used to riding these old XRs and, you know, smaller ones than this. Even though this thing is kind of where I've done most of my riding, is this big old heavy freaking tank. So when I hop on one of these new bikes, it's crazy. It's almost like riding a freaking mountain bike. You could be half dumb, whatever, and actually seem to know what you're doing on some of these new bikes. It's crazy. You can, wherever you want that front tire to be, it seems like you could just put it there and you can line up the jumps good. You can shoot around corners, and those new bikes, they are freaking sweet. But me, I don't have the $10,000, you know, to fork out to get a comparable on off-road, whatever, to what it is like those newer dirt bikes. So this old girl, she's gonna be my steed. Figured I'd bust out a video on it, kind of show you guys, see what you guys think of the old 650L. I know they got a huge following, whatever. Even guys down in South America and stuff like that, they ride the heck out of these bikes. They're freaking bulletproof. And almost every Honda I've had with the XL motor, they have just been freaking great motors. They're not built to race. They're built to just lug you along, you know. Yeah. And not only that, but as heavy as this thing is, you ain't gonna do too much trail riding. Some of those trails we'd sneak on down there in Southern California, whatever, and then they get to that single track up through the mountains, and it's kind of hard to contain this big old lead sled. So more than likely she'll kind of stick to gravel roads and maybe light trail riding, four-wheeler trails and stuff like that. But I don't really plan on doing anything crazy like I used to on her back when I was about 16. You know, I'd see a big old hill with a road up it. I'm like, oh, well, there's a road there, I can make it up it. And I'd get myself in some pretty sticky situations with her. And I've laid her down. This is a different tank than back when I rode it all the time, just because I kind of wiped the tank out that was on it. My uncle, he went and put a new seat on it, new tank, and then he painted the sides black instead of blue. As you can see, they're all scratched up. That's thanks to me. Backing up, man, I've got a scar across my chin from this old girl. My helmet busted. I busted my chin up, scraped my knee. That was a pretty good wreck. Another time I wrecked in 9 Mile there above Ridgecrest. It's this little old mining town way up in the Sierra Nevadas. I ate it really good there. I mean, just sliding down the road, skinned the heck out of my arm. And first thing I did, I ran to go make sure the bike was okay. My Uncle Bill, he was behind me on a 500 and put his bike down, you know, and runs up to me. He's like, hey, stupid, don't worry about the bike. You got any holes in you, you know? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm all right. And he's like, lift up your shirt, and kind of checked me over, and then seen my arm was just gone, whatever. My arm was scraped clear from probably lower forearm clear up to my bicep there. It was all skinned up. And the ride home, my cousin Ryan, he kind of tortured me because he didn't want me to touch him with my oozing arm, because we were in a standard cab pickup, 3 bikes in the back. And yeah, so he kind of made it the ride home kind of a pain in the butt, you know. Wouldn't let me sit by the window, of course. Had to freaking just torture me. Of course, I was the young buck, me just 16 years old. But yeah, I had a blast riding this bike, so I'm really excited to have it. So I figured I'd snap out a quick video, let you guys see the old beast, kind of a before and after, even though I've already done some work on it. And not only that, but now it's actually a freaking boom. Turn the key on, and everything's still a little sticky because I really haven't rode it much since I've got it back from the motorcycle shop. Lights and all that stuff, and I need to get some levers. The levers are off, and I'll shoot some oil down the cables there, whatever. Which the more I ride it, the kind of more it'll free itself up. She's just been sitting for a long time, so it's good. I'm gonna have to work some kinks out on her. Got a new chain, but yeah, me and this old girl, we're gonna explore some stuff, especially a lot more stuff once I get more than a 80-mile range on a 2.8. Once I get 5.8, you know, that'll boost my range up to dang near 200 miles. Even though 200 miles, you know, you think about it, 200 miles ain't that much, but when you're on a bike, you're working. You see, I don't want to seem like an old man or nothing, but Yeah, most of you guys who ride bikes, you know, about 2 hours, whatever, steady riding. That's pretty good day. And another thing, whatever I did, this was back when it was still my Uncle Bill's, I got him these bars and the bar riser, just because these bikes, they actually kind of sit down in the front a little bit, whatever, so it's a more comfortable ride now with the bars up a little higher. I was thinking about maybe doing the drop link on the back, but me, I'm 6'6", so I mean it fits me just about right. And now with the bars up a little bit, whatever, it should be perfect. I'll have to take it for a good ride and see how I feel. But if it still feels like I'm bending down and would be easier on my back, maybe I might do that drop link. Because my cousin Ryan, his bike, it had the drop link on it, and it had a good feel to it. He didn't have the bar risers on his though. And I think my uncle still got the Super Trap exhaust. I'm not real sure, but I'll ask him about it, see if he still got it. Maybe I'll throw the Super Trap back on her. Maybe it might give her a little bit more pep. I don't know. Doing those valves and stuff like that, whatever, definitely seemed to wake her up. But I haven't rode it in so long, I couldn't really tell the difference, whatever. I mean, it's always been a good, healthy bike. But yeah, this is my bike. You know, go ahead and leave me a comment. Tell me what year yours is, you know, because I'm sure more than likely if you're watching a video about an XR650L, you probably got one, or you probably want one. And if you are in the market for one, I have nothing but good things to say about it. Just hopefully you're a pretty big guy and can kind of manhandle it around, because like I said, it is a freaking big bike. But it'll take you anywhere you want to go. Well, I wouldn't go down no crazy goat trails or anything like that, because this thing being a big old heavy sled, and 43 horsepower is sufficient, whatever. But for a lot of that stupid stuff, like my old 450, you know, places I'd take that thing, whatever, you know, you had to use power to get out of, and kind of a little more finesse. But this old girl, she's gonna do me good. Now I'm a little bit older, so I ain't out there racing around or anything like that. Doesn't have its shrouds on the side there, but once I get that off-road tank, that big old monster, whatever, it won't really matter anyway. It's gonna kind of be a shame to take this tank off just because it's in such good shape, but I'll hang it up on the wall or something. So, all right, here's my bike. Tell me what you think about her. Tell me a little bit about yours. What year's yours, you know, because I think they're still making them to this day, and I think they're pretty much the exact same, just a plastic tank on them now. Maybe a little bit different, but yeah, for the most part, I think they're still making them identical to this day. So, all right, thanks for watching. Have a good one.